The Erie Railroad relocation was the most anticipated post-war project and the improvement which most changed the appearance of the city. Public Service Commission hearings were first held in 1937 to change the Erie's route through the city. A report submitted in 1938 listing accidents along the Erie Railroad documented that 70 persons, an average of one a year, had been killed along the Erie right-of-way in the vicinity. Many others had been injured. Although this evidence seemed damaging enough to bring prompt action, 14 hearings were held by the PSC before a satisfactory relocation plan was accepted in June 1945. This plan moved the Erie tracks on the north side of the river generally parallel to those of the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western. It was necessary to remove 25 grade crossings and 2 bridges. The Erie yards were moved to Gang Mills. The DL&W station was moved, and the Erie constructed a new freight depot on West William Street, as well as a new passenger station between Sly and Bridge Streets. In retrospect, it seems unfortunate that the two lines did not consolidate at that time, but in the immediate post-war era, the railroads were prosperous and competitive. Apparently, no one noticed the significance of events like the Erie suspension of passenger service on the Rochester Division after 87 years in the fall of 1947. No one could foresee that the two roads would merge in 1960. In 1945, the railroads were modernizing their equipment. Both lines were introducing diesel locomotives, and Corning's reaction was to complain about the raucous blast of the diesel horn, which was even more shattering than the familiar steam engine whistle. On March 27, 1946, the Corning Evening Leader headlined the news that the New York legislature had voted $10 million for Corning's Erie project. A few months later, the headlines announced another huge construction job, a $7,600,000 state highway for the Corning area. Construction was to follow the relocation and utilize Erie Avenue as its route. Arterial highway was to become an important new term for the area. The first work of what was cited by the local press as the biggest construction job in the history of the New York State Department of Public Works was to prepare the new Erie route and complete necessary changes on the DL&W Railroad. On November 22, 1952, the Erie was cut over to its new right-of-way. For the first time in 100 years, the South Side did not shake with the passing of trains and received showers of soot and steam. Residents no longer needed to time their trips to the business district by the Erie schedule. There were no longer a perennial excuse for tardiness to work and school. Although the trains were gone, a massive cleanup job remained during which the business district endured months of dirt and disruption. The concrete watchmen's shanties were lifted up and carted away. Rails and ties were removed, followed by construction of a highway base and eventual paving. At this time, the arterial highway extended west only to Chestnut Street. The momentous task was finally completed, and the week of October 10, 1954, was set aside as Achievement Week for celebration for the Corning Painted Post area. Monday was Education Day, and all schools held open house from 3 to 6 p.m. Dr. James E. Allen, the New York State Deputy Commissioner of Education, spoke that evening. Tuesday, Industry Day, was highlighted by an open house at the newly constructed Corning Evening Leader building on Pulteney Street and by various industrial displays. Wednesday, Civic Day, was the climax of the week with a dedication of the new highway and a personal appearance by Governor Thomas E. Dewey and Senator Irving M. Ives, the Republican candidate for governor. Mayor Joseph Andrews threw the switch to light the 102 modern lights along the roadway. They were energized by a replica of Thomas Edison's first incandescent lamp. Thursday, National Affairs Day, saw a meeting of 700 delegates representing 37 chambers of commerce from New York State and Pennsylvania. Friday was Sports Day, but Hurricane Hazel caused a postponement of the scheduled CFA Geneva game until Saturday, which was Merchants' Day and marked by many special promotional events. The new arterial seemed a sign of progress and hope for the citizens of the area. However, adjusting to driving it was not without hazard. The Corning Evening Leader published a special article and photographs to educate the driving public on the proper way to make a left turn. Somewhat later, the city speed limit was raised to 30 miles an hour, with the council's warning that it would be strictly enforced. As if to erase even the memory of the railroad, the name Erie Avenue became Denison Parkway. Although the term arterial highway was commonly used, the new highway was not recognized as a rapid transportation corridor. Rather, it was accepted as a modern, attractive commercial street. By October 1956, the Corning Evening Leader proudly boasted that there were 8 new businesses on the parkway. The first business actually constructed on the completed arterial was a gas station on the southeast corner of Cedar Street. A large old house, which was reputed to have once belonged to Dr. William E. Gorton, the first mayor of the city, was demolished to clear the site in November 1954. The Corning Building Company, which celebrated its centennial in 1948, and Corning Natural Gas had, however, constructed their buildings during the relocation interim. Woolworths, on the site of the old Opera House, joined W.T. Grant on the south side of the Pine Walnut Street block of the Parkway. Across the street, the Francis Hotel and the old Corning Evening Leader building were razed to make site for Newberry's and J.C. Penney Company.